G'day guys, we've seen the tragedy of the commons and how it is a form of market failure, but we want to see how we can go about fixing it. And the answer to that is essentially to introduce ownership, which can come in a few different forms that we're going to explore in this video. And we're going to explain exactly how ownership can actually solve the tragedy of the commons. So we know that the tragedy of the commons comes about from open access. Therefore, how can we prevent the tragedy of the commons? Well, we simply need to remove open access. If you want to remove open access, you need the resource to be controlled by some entity. In other words, it has to be the property of some entity. And there are actually three main options we have here. The first is private property. So the resource is owned and controlled by some individual who maintains private ownership, and thus they are able to use and sell the property however they wish. An alternative to private property is common property. In this case, it is not considered to be owned by a single individual, but rather it is owned by the community. And there are certain members of the community who are given the task of managing the resource and distributing the benefits amongst the rest of the community. Finally, a somewhat similar but rather different option, state property. Basically, it's owned by the government.